This is the INKPULP podcast. This is the INKPULP podcast. Comics, hip hop, life.
Welcome back to the INKPULP podcast. I'm your host, Sean Crystal. Peace. And today we're gonna start a new type of podcast that I'll be doing. I do a few different types of podcasts, all under the INKPULP podcast umbrella. But today is going to be an educational spin on it. It's art education, comics education to be specific. And it's linking into my educational business, INKPULP Instruction. So today I'm going to talk about page design a little bit, primarily in terms of black and white compositions. And today we're going to study the master, Eduardo Risso, Wolverine, Logan. Let's do this. All right, let's do this. I'm getting used to this. I got a little camera set up on me. And I got my lovely camera recording my screen. So, why Eduardo Risso? I think when it comes to using black and white design or graphic design in comic book storytelling and page design and illustration, there's few better than Eduardo Risso. So, I've chosen this page from Wolverine Logan. They printed a black and white edition, which I highly recommend. The color edition's nice too. It was hand watercolored. But we're studying black and white composition and page design. So I've got this one page I picked, and I picked it for a reason, and let's talk about it. So essentially, you know, we've just got this page between Wolverine and this female. So what I've done is I've set up some layers so I can draw on top of it, and I've just lowered the opacity. One thing I'll notice, or you'll notice, so we all should notice, is that Eduardo Risso commands where he wants you to look with detail and design. So in this first panel, it's an intimate shot of Wolverine's eyes, or Logan. I guess we'll continue to call him Logan. All right? And there's essentially just black shape with some information in here and some information in here. So it saves you from having to unnecessarily draw stuff, and it helps keep clarity in the read of the page. Hold on, let me get a little light on me. There we go. Okay, better. This is new. We got to roll with it. All right, and then what he does is to lead you into panel 2. The whole trick of page design is getting your reader to flow through the page in a way that you intend and in a way that doesn't confuse them. And I've had some good talks with my friend Eric Canetti about this, because he's very aware that in order to bring new readers to comics, we have to make it easy for them, not make it confusing, make them feel welcome. And I think comics, especially like Marvel and DC comics, tend to be very unwelcoming, mainly because their storylines rely on you knowing the past. But that's another discussion for another time. Let's talk about this. So, in this sea of black in panel 2, what he so brilliantly does is uses this white shape to pull you down to the information. So the white shape penetrates this big black shape back in here and pulls your eye in a direction. And this is what graphic design does. And comics is a good combination of graphic design and illustration. So what he does is he uses graphic design to pull your eye somewhere, and then he uses illustration to land your eye where he wants you to stop and read and take in the information. Now, what's also happening here is if we just look at this figure right here, you'll notice that he just drops all of the figure into shadow to keep it a graphic design element, not an illustrative element, so that you just see this portion of her. And then with Wolverine, he does the same thing, drops a shadow. The silhouette of his head really is effective and lets you see it. But watch what happens here. Your eye gets pulled down towards this black shape. And then the illustration pulls you back in this direction. So what he's done very successfully so far is pull you through the page, through panel 1 to panel 2, and pointed you back to the other side of the page for panel 3. Now we have these two panels that are very easy to figure out how to read because they're in a logical reading order. What is a logical reading order, Sean? Logical reading order for an American audience is left to right, top to bottom. It's that simple, just like a novel, left to right, top to bottom. So these two panels working in essentially the same shape, consisting of an entire tier, equate to easy legibility. But he's doing more. So again, there's a lot of black and white graphic design happening, keeping your eye basically into here. But he uses this white to pull you through to the next panel as you take in the information. And Wolverine's even kind of 3/4 facing that direction. Now, what happens over here on panel 4 is the same sort of device. But as you come in, you see the illustration information is in her face. The graphic design information pulls you down through her leg to this panel, right to this moment. And he even uses some graphic design of the steam coming out of the hot tub to tell you where to go. But that's also going to take us out of the page too in a really cool way. So let me just... I need to get this light functioning a little better. Bear with me, people. This is podcasting. All right. So again, really smart graphic design, quick silhouette so you understand it's her. The illustrative information is all in here. Who's speaking? Logan speaking. Where do I gotta look? Where Logan is. So we come down into this moment, which then takes us through the page, and the steam also can act as a means to exit the page. So let's recap real quick. All right, here's the page in all its black and white glory, and I think one of the tests you can do if you're wondering if your design work is working is watch this. If you zoom out and you make it real small, put your page on the other side of your studio or your room, wherever you are, and look at it. And you can still very clearly kind of see how you're supposed to read it. The graphic design holds at this level. The illustration does not because we can't see all the details. So this is a really interesting little device that we can use to make sure we're doing okay. Let me zoom back in. All right. And so just to recap, this is what we got. A very clear, a very engaging, a very easy read. A lot of thought went into the planning of this. And that's kind of something I really want you to take away from this, is spend the time in the thumbnail planning it properly, and the execution will look sort of effortless. And that's just smart comics. And I think if you want to talk about making smart comics, there's no one more effective. Not no one more effective. There are few as effective as Eduardo Risso. And that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little lesson. If you're not familiar with Eduardo Risso, I'd recommend picking up any number of his books from his South American and European publishing days to his American publishing days. It's all inspiring. There's many lessons in there. And if you liked what you heard today, if you like me as a teacher, check out INKPULP Instruction, where I have instructional videos for sale for you to learn from. This is just a little snippet of what all that is. So, thank you, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
This is the INKPULP podcast. This is the INKPULP podcast. Comics, hip hop, life,